Hey everyone, Sumo Spiffy here. Welcome back to day 2 of Fantasy Week for Hatsu 2023. Today we're going to be talking about Salary Cap Sumo. This is a game I have never played before, so I've looked through the rules, I'll explain those, how it's supposed to work, but I haven't really done any strategy. It looks like there's going to be some math involved, so be prepared for that. This is essentially going to be a recording of me going through, figuring out what the best approach to this game probably is, or how I want to approach it. I'll edit it for dead spots, cutting out silent moments, making it a little bit shorter. But for the most part, this is just going to be me thinking and trying to figure out how this game works. So, that being said, let's get started. Hey, it's a whole new website. Before I get started on Salary Cap Sumo, I want to talk about the Super Banzuke real quick. It is a collection of fantasy sumo games. If you scroll down, you can see there's daily games, internet sumo pool, sumo game. We've talked about this stuff in the past, some stuff we haven't talked about, and then pre-basho games. The pre-basho games are the focus of this week. The way this works, and you can see there's a lot, there's 19 in all. You can read the descriptions on the website, but really quick, what it essentially does is create these rankings, where you get points for how you do in all of these different games, and there's another set of points that you get for the year. I'm honestly not even 100% sure how it works, but it's so math and so nerdy that I really like the concept. So I'm getting into this a little bit more. I'm going to be competing in this in as many games as I can. You are more than welcome to do so if this is the kind of thing that interests you. I will have a link to this in the description along with Salary Cap Sumo. So that being said, let's move on to the game itself. Alright, I've made everything a little bit bigger. Here are the rules. Salary Cap Sumo emphasizes managing your resources to get the most points possible. The format was adapted from fantasy football games where players are given a certain amount of money and must buy athletes that have a predetermined price. In Salary Cap Sumo, you're given 1,000 yen to spend on up to 10 rikishi each basho. Not only does the selection of your rikishi matter, you must place the rikishi wisely as well. Combine these two factors and the challenge begins. Okay. Points and pricing. So when I first looked at this, I was like, oh, this is how you score. But this is really important. The price of the rikishi is set based on their performance in the previous 6 basho. And you're gonna see the kind of wonky numbers this comes up with. So if your guy wins, you get 3 points. If they get a ginboshi, we've heard of kinboshi, that's beating the yokozuna. A ginboshi is more of an unofficial thing. Think of it as like a silver star to the kinboshi's gold star. That's if you beat Nozeki. Obviously, there's only going to be one opportunity for anyone to do this in this tournament, so this is a minimal thing. The Gino Sho, Kanto Sho, Shukun Sho, I'm probably mispronouncing those horrendously. Those are the special prizes, so if people get those, that's worth 10. Junyu Shos and Yushos are worth a bunch of bonus points at the end, and as you can see, it's dependent on the record that the wrestler had when they got that Yusho or Junyu Sho. So you still want guys who are going to get a bunch of wins, but obviously this is going to stack up a lot of points, and I'm actually going to show you how some people finished in the last basho, so you can see the effect of the special prizes on the scoring. The Makushita or lower division Yusho is purely for the purpose of setting prices. If a guy comes up to Makuuchi, then they still have to figure out what he's worth. It's not just going to be 0 if he hasn't been in Makuuchi in the last year. So they take the wins he's gotten at different levels, and Yushos at other levels are going to count too. That'll make them cost more. There's an example here of how the scoring works. It's essentially trying to show you that wins are not the only thing that matter. Here you see how wins at divisions lower than Makuuchi are scored for purposes of pricing, guys. That's all stuff you can look at as you want. Entry rules. So you have pick 1, pick 2, pick 3, pick 4. Like it says, you can go all the way to 10. But the first pick you get at the end of the tournament, you get times 10 for the points that person has scored. The second one on your list, times 9. The one after that, times 8. So you want the guys who are going to perform the best at the top. These might be the most expensive, or they might not. You have to figure out if you want to spend on fewer guys who you think are going to do better, or on more guys who you think might do worse on average but collect more wins overall. And then there's tiebreakers, Banzuke rules. That's all stuff that once you've been playing the game for a while, it's how the rankings for the game work. Let's look at the standings from the last Basho and figure out what we need to target to get the best score. All right, here are the standings from Kyushu 2022. As you can see, on day 15, the points spike pretty hard. That's where the special prizes are handed out, the Yusho points, the Jun Yusho points. So the people with a lot of points here, you can see probably had the guys who got the Yusho, Abi, Jun Yushos, Takakeisho and Takayasu, and the special prizes, so like Hoshoryu. But what exactly did their layouts look like? What exactly did their teams look like? Well, let's look at the people who finished at the top, the ones who got 2,000 and up. Andraso Yama went big with a small team, got expensive guys that they thought were going to do really well. And as you can see, 915 points in special prizes is a lot. The gold trophy is the Yusho, the silver trophy is the Jun Yusho, and the blue trophy is special prizes. So special prizes are always going to be 10, and then you have the multiplier here. So it's going to be 10 times 10. So Abi's special prize is worth 100, right? Hoshoryu's then was worth 90. So if we clear that off, the Jun Yusho and the Yusho, remember, are dependent on how many wins the guy got. So if we go back to the rules page, 12 and 3 Jun Yusho, 25 points, 12 and 3 Yusho, 35 points. So now if we go back to the players page, he really maxed out on this one because 35 times 10, 350 points. 25 for the Jun Yusho times 9, that's 225. And then, you know, Takakeisho down at the bottom, he missed out on a few points, but hey, it still won the competition, right? So 25 times 6, that's 150. And then you end up with 915 bonus points. So that's a huge, huge number. Let's look at how many points off of wins. And as you can see, the Ginboshi is here. I'm just counting that as part of wins. It's easier that way. So 2244 minus 915 is 13. I suppose I should draw the line. 1,329. So this person got 1,329 points just through wins. Okay, cool. How does that compare to other people? Basically, what I'm trying to get at is, how much do wins alone matter? Here's the second place person. 830 special prize points, 2105 total. So let's do the same thing. As you can see, Takayasu, Takakeisho, Abe in a different order. But 2105 minus 830 equals 1,275, right? So that's even less in wins. Okay, but is that still good? They're still around the same level. Dorikishi, a little bit of a bigger team here, and missing one person with those the Jun Yusho. Takayasu is not on this team. Still managed to finish third. Still had a good run. 2020 minus 655. Wow, that's 655. Dear God, I need a tablet or something. Oh, that's horrendous. So that's 1365. So that's more in wins, but they're still within a range of about 100 of each other. All right, let's go further down. If we go to the middle, there's actually a couple of people who finished in a tie that I saw. So let's bring them up. So here's Bill. Bill had 340 points in prizes, so not that many. 1657 minus 340. You're starting to see probably, unless you're really slow at arithmetic, that the numbers are coming out very similarly for people. Now, let me show you what halfway down the list looks like. So the top three are here, right? The middle, so there's 65 people. Down here, we've got the bottom. So the middle, 32. We had two people tied for 32nd place. So those are the ones that we're looking at. So here's Kirinaumi. Bill had, about 1,300 points in wins. Oh, Kirinaumi has more in special prizes. So that's got to be less in wins. All right, what are we looking at here? 1657 minus 505 is gonna be nice 1152. So that's less in wins, but still finished equal to somebody who had more in prizes. So you can make up some room or some of the gap with wins. And here's somebody who finished towards the bottom, and no disrespect to them, but it really is important to look at people across the whole of the competition to see, you know, what they did, what were the decisions, and how did it turn out. Well, this person only got 90 points in special prizes from Hoshoryu's special prize, whichever one it was, I don't even know. So 1188 minus 90, not going to draw it out, is 1098. So that's a less in wins. So you still need to get wins, it looks like, rather than just target special prizes. You can't, obviously, you know, U-shows and junior U-shows come with more wins, but a lot of these people seem to go with teams of 5 or 6. They don't really get much bigger. I'm gonna assume for the moment that that's sort of the meta, that as you go down further, actually, why don't we just do some more math? I like math. Yeah, let me bust out the notepad real quick. All right, here we go. So let's say we had, you know, let's go on the high side. Let's say we had a team of 10 and they all got 9 wins. So 9 times 10 guys is 90 wins, right? And then each win is worth 3 points. Let's assume none of them get the Genboshi. So that's 270. Whoops, 270. The average multiplier, so there's one of them is going to be at times 10, one at times 9, all the way down to times 1. So the average there is 0.5. So if we do 270 times 5.5, we're going to end up with, I think I actually need the calculator for this one. 1 second. Okay, calculator. 270 times 5.5 equals 1485. Well, 1485, the two people that we looked at who were tied for the middle of the pack were at 1657. So this is not a good approach. You do not want to make a big team because you can't even get 10 guys with 9 wins each. It's not going to work. So I don't see any way to compete effectively without targeting the guys who are going to get those big bonus points at the end. Okay, cool. All right, here's the important thing. The list of costs for each Rikishi. Now, if you're looking at this, you're probably going to notice real quick that some of these numbers seem skewed, to say the least. For example, Takakeisho is worth 195. Now, in a vacuum, that doesn't really mean anything, right? But Tamawashi's worth 236. Now, if you remember what I was saying, that the points that they've scored across the last year is what turns into their cost. Obviously, Tamawashi with his U-show, that makes a lot more sense. But did you see that guy last tournament and think, oh, he's worth more than all but 2 guys on the entire list? No. So he's probably a bad choice. Takakeisho, on the other hand, seems like an absolute gimme. Let's get Notepad back out. All right, let's scroll a little bit and get more guys on the screen. Can we get them all? Not quite. That's all right. We'll scroll as necessary. Notepad. So who do we want? Who do we think is most likely to be able to compete for the U-show? More importantly, who do we think can compete for the June U-show? Because June U-show points are worth almost as much as U-show points. So there always seems to be somebody who gets on a run and competes from the lower ranks. But if you watch the Kachi Clash video, the bottom does not seem to have anybody who we could even begin to think that about. So let's just start at the top. Obviously, Takakeisho is going to be a contender. Wakatake Kage, we should consider him a possible / probable contender. Hoshoryu, certainly, he would have been more of a marginal pick before last Basho, but now he seems to be putting it together. Not saying he's got huge odds to win the whole thing or even finish second, but he certainly seems to be in a position where it's possible. Takayasu, obviously. Shodai Kiribayama. See, Kiribayama and Kota Nawaka, this is an important thing here. Kota Nawaka had a couple of very, very, very good tournaments at the start of last year, right? But he was Maegashira 14 and then Maegashira 6. Now he's higher ranked. Since he's been here, his performance and Kiribayama's performance is very similar. but Kota no Waka is worth more because of those high level performances at lower ranks. Kirabayama is definitely better value here. That being said, we're going over, who's going to compete, and I don't think it's going to be either of these guys necessarily. So Meisei, Wakamoto Haru, really, no. Tamawashi, it was a great story. Can't see him doing it. Mitakeumi, not until he's fixed. Obviously, Abi is a reasonable choice. Nishiki Fuji and Oho have both been on a run. Well, they were both on a run in Kyushu, and actually Nishiki Fuji was doing really good in the tournament before that, Naki. So what are they going to do? I don't think they're going to compete for a Jun Yusho, because when they were contending and then they got put into the grinder, they fell apart. They're not they're not at that level yet. They might get there, but right now, if they get on a hot streak and they start, 9-2, 9-3, whatever, and then they got to fight Takakeisho and Hoshoryu and Takayasu, and they get stomped. They finish 9-6. They don't get a Jun Yusho. They don't get any special prizes. They're only worth the wins at that point, same as anybody from further down. So we're really targeting the guys who are going to get those bonus points at the end. And those two are just, like, Oho might be a little bit closer to it because he's going to have a little bit of an easier schedule, but they're not great picks for that specific purpose. Okay, so we've got 5 reasonable choices. So if we go with, let's get the calculator out. All right, Takakeisho is 195. Then we've got, I don't know why I'm clicking it. I got a number pad here. Waka Takakage is worth 246. Hoshoryu is 178. Takayasu is 241. By the way, this tells you the kind of year Takayasu had. He's worth 241 and he missed 2 of the Bashos. The other 4 were so insane overall that he's still worth more than anybody except Waka Takakage. It's bananas. And then Abi, let's move the calculator, is worth 227. Okay, we have 1,000 to spend, so we can't get all of these guys. So what do we do? Do we only go with 4 of them? I mean, there's no reason to go with 4 of them because no matter which one we take out, we can find somebody to replace them. All right, so if we wanted Oho, let's say we considered Oho the next best pick, right? If he's 129, then we need somebody who is 87 or more above him in cost. So 129 plus 87 is going to be 216. So that means we would have to take out Abi, Waka, or Takayasu. Now, that's tough because Waka is very, very, very consistent. If you look at how they all did in the last tournament, obviously Waka seems like the least valuable of those 3. But man, do you really think Waka is definitely going to do worse than Takayasu and Abi in this tournament? Because keep in mind, so we talk about injuries. Like in the Kachi Clash video, I mentioned that if Takayasu hadn't been hurt at the end of Kyushu, and we didn't know about any injuries other than his foot, which he fought through there, he would be an easy pick in all formats for everything. Like he would just be God mode, right? But we don't know about, I'm not even sure if he had a concussion. It looked like he did, but there was also word that he had a stinger. He definitely had some kind of an injury though. And that was why he fell apart right at the end. So is he okay? We don't know. So that makes him a little bit of a risky purchase. Waka, he's gonna be there. He's gonna compete. If he does a little bit better, he can get special prizes. He might not. We could get him, because you don't have to put the most expensive guys at the top with the highest multiplier. You can move them down. We could put him at the bottom of the list, but still think he's worth it. But then Abi, he was hurt, and that was why he missed Aki, right? He went, he got a Jun Yusho, and then he went to Sekiwake, and then he went 8-7, 7-8, dropped to Komusubi, went 8-7 again, and then he sat out so he could get surgery. What was his injury status for those 3 tournaments where he just did okay? Because at Maegashira 3, his schedule isn't going to be a lot different. Now, Teruno Fuji's not going to be there, although he beat Teru, so I don't know if that even matters that much. We know he can beat any of these guys, but can he beat all of these guys in the same tournament. So far, when he had the opportunity, he didn't really show that he could. So he might be the one we want to leave out. Or do we leave out two of them? Do we not believe in Waka or Abi, and we're happy to take our chances with Takakeisho, Hoshoryu, and Takayasu, and we want to get maybe 3 guys to pile up more wins, and hopefully we're not sorry that we left those guys out. Man, that is... that's tough, because if we look at the bottom of the list, I'm gonna clear the marks and then scroll. So down at the bottom, because look, Azumaru ain't worth shit. Tsurugisho ain't worth shit. Mitoryu is worth nothing, but Mitoryu only had 5 wins the last time he was here. So these guys are just ooga, big question mark. Like, are they even worth it? Kota Shoho, Kota Weko, like Oho, if Oho's worth 129, and then Kota Shoho, Kota Weko, Ichiyamamoto, all these guys are worth about the same. Obviously you go with Oho. Obviously you go with Oho. It's possible he'll do worse, but really, can you see it happening? Kota Shoho is not a bad choice. I know I kind of talked shit on him in the Kachi Clash video. I looked through a little bit more. He has pretty good records against his likely opposition during the first week. Now, he could go 6-2 or something, and then have more difficult competition and fall apart and still only end up 8-7 or some shit like that. He can get off to a good start, so he's not terrible. But here, why would you pick him over Oho? He's not worth more than Oho. We know that. Now, here to Umi, see, he's only... What the hell did I press on this calculator that... Dear God, I'm just gonna get rid of that. Here to Umi is only 100, and he did really well, but he hasn't been this high before. Now, the competition around him isn't incredible, but Onosho's good, Oho's good, Takanosho is injured but good, Ura is good. There's no guarantee he's really gonna do much. And even if we say, okay, I'm sure he's going to get a Kachikoshi, I'm sure he'll get 9 wins, it's really hard to see him competing for anything. So do you want Oho and Hiroto Umi instead of, say, oh, let me think. Oho and Hiroto Umi total up to 229, right? So if you wanted that, you would need to take out that plus 87. Oh, that's still a lot. You need to take out 316. Yeah, that's not gonna work. You probably need to do Oho or Hiroto Umi. Okay. So if we went with... Alright, let's just write down... So Takakeisho and Hoshoryu are gimmies, right? Because they're relatively inexpensive. They're definitely in the running for U-shows for everything. They're in, guaranteed. Waka, Takayasu, and Abi are the question marks. Now, do we go with 2 of them and then one other cheaper guy, probably Oho, or do we look at everybody else and try to figure out who is maybe a dark horse? But who are the dark horses here? Who have we not seen enough of that we're thinking, oh, they could surprise us? It's not going to be, obviously it's not going to be Shodai. Hirabayama, no. Kota Nawaka. Kota Nawaka is really the only one that fits that bill, who's still young enough and still shows enough potential that maybe he pops off and he like just runs the table, goes 12-3, you know, has his magical Yusho or June Yusho run. But he's not cheap. He's still 212. He's not like an efficient purchase. Toby, can't see him competing. Daisho, no. Matakayumi's busted. Midori Fuji, no. We've talked about all these guys in other videos for other reasons. It's like Hokuto Fuji, like we said in the Kachi Clash video, 9-0, finished 10-5, wasn't in competition by the end, even though he started the best he ever has. It's almost impossible to see anybody else but these 5 guys competing for the U-Show. Whoever else comes into play, it's gonna be, dude, I didn't see that coming at all. And maybe that's for all of us, maybe it's just for me. I guess we'll figure it out. So I think the answer is to go with Oho and then to take 2 out of Waka, Takayasu, and Abi. But who do we take? See, Takayasu is the one with the biggest variables, right? Like, he's the one, if he's hurt, the whole thing could collapse. But he's also the one that is theoretically on an Ozeki run. Waka is definitely consistent, and Abi is the one who could just be smashing it, but also maybe not. Like, we don't know if his mediocre performances at the high ranks before was due to injury. We don't know how long he was hurt for. I just got to make a choice, I guess. All right. As much as I have just stand Waka for quite a while, it's like, how much risk do you want versus how much reward? It's this is low, probably the lowest risk and the lowest ceiling, right? Takayasu, high, definitely the highest risk and the highest ceiling. And Abi's the middle ground, because we should expect him to do well. And, you know, we've seen that he can beat high-end guys, but his risk is less about injury and more about just not being able to beat all of the high-end guys in one tournament. You know what? I'm going to be okay with it if Waka makes me look like an idiot. I think I'm just gonna... And there's got to be something with this teleprompter software that I'm using that keeps putting pound signs in Notepad. It's actually, I've cut a couple, and I think it's what happened with the calculator too. I don't know. Yeah, I think we leave Waka out of this one. I can't believe I'm making that choice, but so be it. Takayasu, if I am your curse and you only fail when I pick you for stuff, well, I'm sorry. And then Abi, I've just been a big Abi fan. That I'm sure I'm biased here. Logically speaking, there's too good of a chance that he just goes meh and finishes with 8 or 9 wins and it's not really worth it. But you know what? I'm gonna run with it. There's the team. Oh, do I really want that though? Do I want Abi or do I want Waka? Because I can get all of them. I'm gonna double check my math real quick. Where's the calculator? All right, here's calculator. We moved everything around to be able to read it. So Takakeisho 195, Hoshoryu 178, Oho 129, and then if we definitely go with Takayasu, that's 743. Yes, we can get either one, and that's going to be at... Oh man, I can't do it. I can't do it. I gotta go with Waka. I gotta go with Waka. I gotta. It's my heart, man. My heart says it has to be done. If Abi ends up blowing up again and making Sekiwake again or whatever, I'll be super happy. I'm a big Abi fan. I'd love to see it, but I think this is my team. And now the only question left is, what order do we put him in? See, I think Takakeisho has the best chance of doing this, because Takakeisho lost in a playoff, which means theoretically, if he wins the Yusho, they could consider him for Yokozuna. I don't know if they'll put him there, but he's got every reason in the world to pop off and just smash everything. Takayasu, again, a little bit of the injury worry. So we're going to put Oho at number 6. We're definitely putting Oho at number 6. So at the 6X level. I think Waka goes to 7. Because, again, high floor, lower-ish ceiling, which means Hoshoryu goes to 8. I'm obviously not showing a lot of fear of Takayasu being hurt. Ugh. Do I really want to do that, though? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's it, because sumo being sumo, I think that a guy who has reason to get a huge number is going to have a slightly better chance of getting a huge number. It's, if you haven't been watching the sport for very long, and really in the grand scheme of things, I haven't been watching for very long, but it does seem to work out that way a lot of the time. Like a guy who's, okay, if I do it now, I get a big prize. I get Ozeki, I get Yokozuna, I get, you know, whatever. A lot of times that will get them an extra win or two. That will get them where they need to go. So yeah, I'm gonna put them like this: Takakeisho, Takayasu, Oshoryu, Wakataka Kage, and Oho. There we go. The team is set. I can change it later, but I don't think I'm going to. We have 11 yen left. We've spent all our money. Oh boy, this is going to be an interesting competition. I hope you've enjoyed this. We'll be back tomorrow with day 3 of Fantasy Week. Have a great day, and I'll see you soon.